viewers. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Life and More. Today we have with us Mr. Tarun Thakral, Executive Director, CJ International Hotels Limited. He is also the founder and managing trustee of Heritage Transport Museum located in Gurgaon. An ardent lover of arts, he has a huge collection of posters, prints, oleographs, and old calendars with him. And today we'll be talking to him about his exhibition, Journey Through Time One Day, One Story, that is presently on at Meridien Hotel in New Delhi. It's a unique exhibition of hand drawn Indian commercial posters that is collected from 1920s to the 1960s, belonging to 1920s, from 1920s to 1960s, and it will remain on view till March 15. Welcome, Mr. Thakral. Welcome to the
Thank you very much. Thank
live.
you.
So, sir, we'll begin with the exhibition first. So, tell us
Right.
about a little about the exhibition.
All right. The hotel, the Meridien Hotel, was trying to work out as to how do they describe or how do they present the plus one day of the year. As you know, this 2024 is the leap year, and we have one extra day, and that was
Yeah,
29th of February. So,
yeah,
so we came up with this idea of displaying a rare
mhm,
collection of vintage posters that I have collected over a period of time. And
mhm,
so we have 28 posters plus one poster, 29 posters in all on display.
mhm,
They, as you
mhm.
rightly mentioned, some of them are dating back to the 1920s, and the youngest one, if I may put it, is of 1960s. Currently, this display has been appreciated. We are now about 5 days in the running. This exhibition, and
Yeah,
not only the visitors who come, who are residing in the hotel, but also visitors from outside the hotel, especially coming to see the exhibition. It's a very
mhm,
fascinating journey of how these posters were made, the technology behind it, the artworks behind it, and some of them are of very known artists of the past who also
okay.
indulged in poster making, in those times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Could you name a few? I think
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah, yeah.
M.F. Hussain also used to make
He
posters
used to, but
in the
yeah, he
beginning.
used to, but unfortunately, I don't have any of his posters. But I
Okay,
do have of Raja Ravi Varma,
okay.
M.V. Durandar, who was again a very known artist, S.L.
Yeah, yeah.
Haldankar. He had made a couple
Oh.
of posters.
Mm-hmm.
Gaonkar, he had made a couple of posters. So we have posters from this, from them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of British artists who were present in India, before the India got independence, and
Mm-hmm.
Victor Weaves is one of them, whom we have posters.
Mm-hmm.
K. Newton, her posters are there. So we have an array of posters made by different artists.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, and all these artists have lent their signatures on these posters. Whereas there are a few
Okay.
posters where the we don't know who made them. There was that
Okay.
trend also. Maybe they were not very popular poster artists, so their signatures don't feature on the poster. Although they're very
Okay.
beautifully made, and it's very difficult to find out who actually created them.
Okay. But how did you go about collecting these posters? Like, when did you think of,
Mhm.
when did you begin your collection?
When I was building the Heritage Transport Museum, I did acquire a
Mm-hmm.
few transport related posters for the museum because
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be a good addition to the other displays of vehicles and other objects. That
Mm-hmm.
posters will form a nice backdrop to, in the museum. But after the
Mm-hmm.
museum was, set up and it opened its doors to the public in December of 2013, I, especially during COVID, I again started because I had too much of time on my hands. I
Time with
started
that.
going through the internet, seeing what appeals to me, and I found old
Mm-hmm.
calendars, old posters very appealing for some reason or the other. And then I went on
Mm-hmm.
a spree of collecting, as you mentioned, oleographs, calendars, posters, and other print material, with the object of trying to save, because these posters have not lasted. They were not supposed to last for a period of time, because they were stuck on the walls. The paper quality wasn't the best of the qualities. The
Mm-hmm.
people used to, when a new poster used to come, they used to put the poster, stick the poster on top of that poster, so they were
True.
lost. So
Mm-hmm.
many of the posters I was able to source from India, but
Mm-hmm.
and many from abroad also. So I do have a collection today, but they're all India centric posters, and it's all about India, how India was, and how things were advertised through the medium of posters, so that they could reach the general public. Remember, television wasn't there in those times.
Yeah.
Computer, internets, nothing was there. So the
Mm-hmm.
only way that companies could reach the general public was, one of the ways was through posters or calendars, for that matter.
Mm-hmm. So, sir, was this sourcing these calendar posters a tough process?
It is tough
Or
because they're not readily available. Uh,
Mhm.
so you have to continuously. I mean, I have a network of dealers who sell me old things, and so through
Okay.
this network, whether it was Rajasthan or Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra, and even
Mhm.
Calcutta, and
Mhm.
also Tamil Nadu, I did get a
Mhm.
few posters.
Mhm.
And I was a little picky in choosing them, because I wanted the condition to be good. And some came with water stains, some had to be restored because they were getting torn. Um,
Mhm.
but but finally, I've been able to build a collection. Many other posters. What happened was, collectors from abroad, especially the
Mhm.
UK and the US, came to India in the 60s and 70s and bought lots of posters in lots, and took them away, because it's quite a structured hobby in these countries, to keep posters. Art galleries showcase old posters as an art form. So I got in touch with some of them internationally and
Mhm.
bought some from there also. So that's how this collection became kind of. Today I have 500-600 posters. Just the poster collection is about 500-600, and
Mhm.
similarly, the same happened with calendars and those kind of things.
So some of the posters, like you said, were not in good condition, and
Mm.
they had to be restored. So,
Right.
did you hire external people to restore these,
Yeah.
or do you do
Yes.
these things on your own?
Yeah. No, I don't have the. I have to hire people. Especially, we've hired some conservators who were earlier, who've taken courses from National Museum Institute, and some
Mhm.
of the posters which I bought in the US, I got them restored there, because there
Okay.
was no point in bringing back a torn poster, with certain pieces missing of it. So when these restorers do a job, not only do they deacidify the paper, because the ink otherwise, over a period of time, smudges all over. So they first deacidify the paper, then they mount it on a Japanese tissue or on a linen canvas with acid-free glue, so that the life of that poster goes up by another 100 years.
That's a process,
Yeah, it is. It
time-consuming
is quite a
process.
process. It's quite a process. Yes.
Huh. So when did you actually begin preparing for this show? How much time did you take?
Okay. Many of the posters, we took about a month to identify which posters we want to keep put on display. We wanted posters from various artists, so that was one of the reasons. We wanted purely advertising posters. We didn't want notice board posters or notices or just announcements. We didn't want those posters. We didn't want any health posters, because in India, you'll be surprised, how would the government reach to the public when tuberculosis was there, or when plague was there, or when cholera had spread. So they also came out with posters. We've not we've not don't have those posters on display at the moment. So we focused on just advertising posters. And having
Mhm.
29 was not a big task, to be very honest, out of this huge collection. So we
Yeah.
chose various artists, we chose various time periods, we chose various techniques that we could use to
Mhm.
advertise these posters.
I lost you, sir.
And later on, it was what you call it as through offset mediums. Sorry, I think we got a little
Sir, I
interrupted
lost you
there.
in between. You were talking about,
Are you there?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you were talking about, yeah, I'm there.
Yeah.
I need you to repeat that. So I couldn't
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Yeah. You know, the way we decided on going about selecting these 29 posters were uh, to use, number one, as I mentioned, the artist. Secondly, was the technique that was used while producing these posters. Earlier posters were produced on lithographic machines. Then offset came into being. So we have a selection of both lithographic posters and lithograph offset machines. We've kept limited our selection to 60s, although I do have a collection going up to 1980s, just before computerization and digitization of photographs and posters and advertisements came into being.
And I hope we'll see another exhibition related from 60s
Sure,
to 80s, maybe,
sure,
and
we will.
related to other aspects also, not just advertising. Like you said,
Right? Yes.
there were health
The-
posters and government
Yeah.
posters.
Yes.
Those
Of course,
all
we will.
exhibitions will be
We
forthcoming.
will. We will in times to come. Yes, certainly.
Okay, okay. So, sir, like these are advertising posters. So, these are these related? Are they purely advertising from different brands and all, or they are they related to, say, Indian art and culture also, culture and history also? Do
Okay.
the this
Yeah.
does this exhibition have those?
Yes, it has a range of products. For example, Indian Railways, which is now almost about 175 years old, they started with smaller companies. So, and the smaller companies like South Indian Railways or Eastern Bengal Railway, they were promoting their own towns or popular places during that era. So, for example, Great Indian Peninsular Railways was promoting um Nasik and Panchvati, which was a historical place, which is an historical place. So, Mr. Haldankar prepared a poster depicting that, and then it was promoted through the Indian Railway offices worldwide. Uh,
Mhm.
Similarly, we had Mr. Durandar, who has painted a poster on that you could hire Great Indian Peninsular Railway coach for a marriage function, which was new,
Okay.
which so that was advertised. Raja Ravi
Mhm.
Varma's famous goddess Lakshmi painting,
Mhm.
or that was used by soap companies to advertise soap products. There was a brand called Vinolia from UK, which they were trying to get inroads into India to promote it to
Mhm.
Indian masses. So they used goddess Lakshmi's painting, which was made by Raja Ravi Varma. Similarly, many of these products were,
Mhm.
in fact, gods were also used. Various gods were used to promote, products. And I guess at those times in the 20s and 30s, people must have felt, a little more comfortable when they saw Lakshmi or Shiva or somebody, and they were selling products.
Yeah.
I guess that was a phase in this country when we had to rely on, or I think the credit should go to the marketing geniuses of the people at those times who probably thought that this is the quickest way to
Mhm.
reach an Indian household.
To cash in on the thing, their devotion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you said that in West, this is quite a popular hobby, yeah,
Yes,
and art galleries showcase such kind of exhibitions. But in
yes.
India, we don't see that happening here. Most
There
of
are
the
a few.
Mhm,
Yeah, there are a few collectors. This entire thing comes under a form of, if you may like to call it, visual arts. What was, but visual arts of the early 1900s. If I may put it across. Now, visual arts contains posters, oleographs, prints,
mhm,
and calendars, of course. So there are few collectors in India. It's not that there
mhm,
aren't any collectors. There are few,
mhm,
but when you start a hobby, you first like to number one, build a collection, then do a lot
mhm,
of research on it. Because what happens
mhm,
is, uh, unless until you do the research, you really can't put it
mhm.
up on public display, because there'll be more questions than than you have. And in order to do research, you really need to refer to a lot of history books and reference
Mhm,
books as to why
mhm,
these were created, who created them, which were the presses that were there, who used to print these. So it's a tough task. But yes, there are
mhm,
collectors. There are a few collectors, but not
mhm,
everybody is into it. A
mhm,
role of an exhibition like this is also to educate people on this. And maybe
mhm,
you never know, out of the thousands that see this exhibition, maybe five of them get interested in collecting this kind of a thing, or maybe something similar. Um,
mhm.
they may not be interested in posters, they may be interested in calendars, or they may be interested in oleographs. So it all depends on a person. It's all about personal liking also.
Yeah, yeah. So each of these posters has a story behind, no?
Yes, of
And
course.
also, and those that are restored also have an additional story of restoration behind
That's
that
right.
particular
That's
poster.
yes.
So, have you like mentioned these stories along with the posters that have been put up for the public?
Not at the moment, because this exhibition was purely to offer a visual, a kind of a visual enhancement display for the public. It was not meant to be going into the research details. I guess if there are scholars who come in or who want to do authentic research on a particular thing, we would be happy to share. But currently, it's just for a visual appreciation.
Okay, okay. So,
Hmm.
do you plan to take this exhibition to other places, other
Yes,
cities?
yes. There is a. We are thinking about it to take it to various
Mhm,
galleries. We've been approached by one of them from Bangalore,
mhm.
so we may that
Okay.
may be the quickest one. But
Mhm,
we are actually going to make a bigger collection, not just 29.
mhm,
Probably make about 50 to 60, which would form
mhm,
a part of a traveling exhibition. So it could travel from here to another city, display it there
mhm,
for a month or so, and then move into another city. So that there is more awareness about this form of art, and
mhm,
also get more people enthused about it.
mhm. So, and
But
that will include
eventually,
the other posters also,
yes,
other kind of
of course,
posters.
yes,
Okay,
yes. The
okay,
other thing
okay.
that I'm planning to do, I mean, just to add on to
Mhm,
this, is that we are in the process of cataloging everything, the entire collection. We may make an
mhm.
online museum, so that
Okay. That will be
tomorrow,
good.
if you can't travel anywhere, you can actually see it
Mhm,
online. But
mhm.
I have always felt, and I've personally experienced it. What you see on a computer screen, you know, is far different
Yeah,
than what you
yeah.
actually see physically. So I
That's
mean, I
true.
guess, yeah.
See,
So
when it takes you to a wider audience, that is fine. But then
that's
if it
right.
is happening in your city, you always
You
want to
would
go
like
there
it,
and like look
because these
face to face.
posters are large posters. They're like
Mhm.
almost 30 inches by 40 inches. So the scale, you can appreciate the scale and the minuteness of the detailing of the poster when you see it physically, with your own eyes. On
Yeah,
the on a computer screen, they all look the same.
yeah, true, true. So, sir, now I'll move to your transport museum.
Hmm.
Uh, First of all, tell me, you are a hotelier. You manage
Right.
Meridien Hotel. You
Mm.
also have this huge collection. That means considerable amount of time goes into your hobbies of
Right.
this collection of
So how do I
posters
manage?
and prints and all those things. And then you have a transport museum. So how do
Right.
you manage your time?
It's a question of interest, and everybody asks me, how do you? I work 5 days a week at the hotel, okay, and the balance
Okay.
2 days are devoted to my collection and hobbies. Um,
Mhm.
so that's how, in a nutshell, I spend my time. See, the transport collection happened. I started that in 1994, um,
Mhm.
and the museum opened in 2013. So I had a considerable amount of collection spread over almost 20 years before the museum opened. Uh, they were large objects. I mean, you have vintage cars, you have trains, you have
Yeah.
aircraft. So those were
Mhm.
difficult to acquire, but once you're keen on doing it, I think there are a lot of people who help you out also. And I
Mhm.
received considerable support not only from the Ministry of Railways but also the Government of India while I was building that collection. And even when we decided that India should have its own comprehensive transport museum, we never had one till this one.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
so I did get a lot of support from all quarters. My and of course, you need to hire the right kind of people who share the same passion. Because
Mhm.
without passion, these things are not possible. Collections are
Mhm.
not possible. You're not able to buy things because you don't get across, or people don't come up to you. So if you're a passionate person, people automatically come up to you that I have this. Would you be interested?
Mhm. And you need a
So
lot of resources to maintain that also. It's not just
yes,
acquiring, it's maintenance also that is much
that's
more important once you acquire a particular thing.
that is the reason
So,
the transport museum came about, because I couldn't manage the collection. I was finding it extremely difficult to manage that huge collection. So then I approached the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, that I have this huge collection. I have a land, but I don't have the money. Yeah, so I did approach Ministry of Culture, Government of India, and they gave me a grant of 6 crores of rupees to build a museum up. So when you do something in the right earnest, I think the government has a scheme that if you want to set up a museum, they will provide you the seed funding as long as they're clear that okay, you're doing it for the benefit of the public. So that's how. So things are available. India is not a difficult country to set up things.
sir, I lost you again.
Yeah, I'm
I
so
don't know what's
sorry.
happening.
So,
I
I
don't know
think
what's happening.
no, it's because I'm on the mobile. There was a call coming. Hello,
Okay.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. But
Hmm.
your picture is gone still.
Is it? Am I still, or it's back?
Yeah, yeah. Still, still.
Come back, I think. Is it there, or am I
No,
still
no.
still? No,
Yeah.
or yes?
No,
I'm
you're
pretty.
still,
I
still.
mean,
I don't
really?
know
I
what's
mean,
happening.
yeah. I think there's a connection, but I think it should come back
Uh,
because.
yeah,
Hmm,
yeah. Now it's coming back.
hmm. Okay,
So you were
so
talking about the seed. Huh. You were talking
so
about
I
the
got
seed
the
funding that you got.
Yeah, so I got that funding, and that's how, and then I got some donations from corporate and private donors, and that's how the museum came. And today, I'm proud to say that the museum fends for itself through ticket sales and through events that we do there. That the collection is being maintained, and it will be maintained much after even I'm gone. So I think I'm very proud that more and more people should start displaying their collections rather than keeping it behind closed doors.
Hmm, hmm. So are you still adding to the transport museum? Do you keep adding
Yes.
to it, or like it's done now?
No, it's never done. A museum is never done. It's a constantly evolving space, and that's why it'll be relevant that if it continues to change. What we have seen is over the course of the last 10 years that many
Mhm.
individuals who have vehicles, they send their vehicles on a loan basis, or some of them have donated them. So the collection keeps changing, rotating. We like to rotate our exhibits so that nothing is permanent there. So if you come once, that's the excitement is always there that you will come again, because we keep changing things. But of course, there is limitation of space. We can only use that many vehicles in the space that we have created, which is close to about 100,000 square feet. So it's not a small museum. It's spread on 4 floors, and it's pretty large. Uh, but yes, I mean, the work never stops there at the museum. My team is fully geared. They get to hear something. In fact, we've recently done a couple of installations. So we keep doing things we actually are having fun, and our visitors are having fun. So that's more important.
Yeah, that's more important. But there must be some fixtures also, na? Some old vintage cars that are always there.
See, there are certain very large objects like a railway saloon built in the 1930s. I really can't move
Okay.
that. So that's
Mm.
permanent. Cars are easier to move around. Cars are easier
Mhm.
to bring, and then sometimes we need to take them out for a paint job or a thing. So we need to put some other. So cars are easier to move. An
Mm.
aeroplane which is there, that's difficult to move. We have a tram, a 1940s tram. That is difficult to move. Steam engines. So those are the ones which are more or less stationary. But smaller objects, yes, definitely they keep moving.
So, are there any cars that are in working condition there? Old cars,
All all of them are working condition. We have currently on
like,
display about 60 cars, and they're all working condition.
okay. Do you offer rides in that?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. That is quite
Yes,
inviting.
yes, yes.
Okay, so as we come to an end of this
Mm.
session, I want to ask you, tell me a day in your life. What
Okay,
do you
my
do apart
typical.
from your the hotel that you manage and the hobbies that you do?
Mm.
What else?
Uh, I think that I'm not into cooking. I'm not into partying that much. I do party, but not that much. I have 2 kids who are currently in the US because they're studying there. So I do try and spend once a week at least talking to them. One is in the second year of college, and one is in the
Mhm.
first year. So in that extra day that I have, I try and speak to them, try and check on their well-being, and see if
Mhm.
everything is okay with them. And then, of course, there's always a list that, Papa, I want this, and I want that. So that's typical children and thing. I try to tell them what collections I'm doing, and so trying to get them interested also. But at the moment, I think they're too busy in their studies that they don't have time.
Mhm.
Um, and then, I mean, I do a lot of research. Purely research. I do have a habit of reading, a lot of reading. So whatever books I order, I do take out time to read on them and understand various nuances of posters, arts, and all that.
Okay. Okay. How much of help does your wife lend
She
you?
she initially did lend me a lot of support when I was building the museum, but I think she thinks I'm half crazy person that he'll always do something or the other. But she's also currently in the US with the boys, so I have a lot more free time. You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
trying to
That,
manage my
that is
my collection and manage my time.
okay. Okay. So, would you like to share some interesting story pertaining to your any of your collections? Something that stands out?
You know,
Something that
uh,
you cannot forget ever?
yeah, I'd gone once. This was way back in the middle of '90s. Somebody told me that there are 2 cars available in Bikaner. So I said, okay, let me go and check them out. And so I went there. I met this person who called me, and he took me to a gaushala, a cow shed. So I
Okay.
said that, why are we here? He said, wait. And then suddenly I see these 2 cars lying there in that gaushala. So I was wondering as to ये गौशाला में गाड़ियां कहाँ से आ गई? How did they reach here? And
Mm.
so then I spoke to the head of the Goshala and I asked him, I said, you're wanting to sell these cars, but how did you acquire them? I would like to know. It's very interesting to see cars in a Goshala. So then he said,
Mhm.
no, they didn't belong to me. They belonged to the local zamindar where we used to supply milk to him for years, for generations.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that zamindar's family went through serious issues, and they stopped paying us for years on the milk bill. So one fine day when I had gone to get my monies for supply of milk, he said, "मेरे पास
Mm.
पैसे हैं नहीं, आप ये दो गाड़ियां खड़ी हैं, आप ये ले जाइए. I mean, you take these cars in lieu of your milk bill." That's how these
Mm.
cars are with me, and I don't know what to do with them. So if you're interested in
Mm.
purchasing them, you can buy them. So that was I
Mm.
found that very a very cute kind of a way of somebody who's unable to pay his
Yeah.
milk bills actually gave his cars away.
And the zamindar not being able to pay milk bills is
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
thing,
it's quite
unbelievable
a
kind of
story.
thing.
A story in itself. Yeah, I think they had some family disputes or something, so there were some issues there. I
Mm.
didn't
So you
meet the
got those cars?
zamindar, so I didn't meet the zamindar. I just met the person who was selling these cars.
Mm. So you got those cars?
Yes, yes, they're on display at the
What
museum.
brands? Okay,
Uh,
what brands are they?
okay, 1947 Buick and a 1946 Chevrolet wood wagon.
Okay, okay, ठीक है. So thank you so much, Mr. Takral, for
Thanks.
talking to us.
Thank
It
you.
was lovely
Love
talking
you.
to you.
Same here. And thank you so much. And
Yeah,
all the very best. Okay.
yeah.
And
Pleasure is all ours, sir.
hope you start collecting something.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.